Hello and welcome to another episode of Backyard Progression with me, Brown Kenku. Uh, so it's been another week. Spring is finally here. We've hit April. Hopefully, the snow will stop coming. There's no guarantees though. It's been a hell of a week. There's been a lot of rain, a lot of high winds. You'll be able to see some of the devastation. Um, Maybe if you've got a keen eye, but the birds are coming back, and you'd think seasonal depression would lift, but the wonders of depression is that there always seems to be another thing that seems to ruin a good day or make things worse. There's always just that one more thing where I feel like, well, at least I had this. This was doing well. But no. Um, so there is so many things that can ruin a good day. There's so many little things that if you dwell on them, if you sit with them, they're going to be bad for you. It's it's really wild, all the things out there and how um, precarious our lives are. Everything is set up just so. It's much like the work I need to do here. This is such a swamp. I need to actively like canal this through, make proper paths for all the water to seep through. But I don't. So it ends up continuing to be bad and a pain to walk through. And it's part of why I chose to walk through that path. Because I want to remind myself that that is work I need to do. I want to be very upfront with who I am and what I'm doing because too often there's too much going on. And if I ignore it, it's just going to get worse. It's just going to at least keep on being the exact same way it is, which is already bad. I mean, there's always a chance it'll spontaneously get better, but we shouldn't be counting on that. And there are other little things, like there was a puddle back that way that I saw that I've got to fill in with some of the gravel over here. And it's good to like highlight those because it's a really nice day today. And I really hope that I can get back out there and do some really cool things, try to manage at least that. Um, all the little froggies are out, and it's just wonderful to listen to at night. They go wild. It's impressive just how loud such a little creature can be in chorus. It's so good. I'm always amazed at just how alive a space is, even if you don't see a whole lot of life. Like, there's so many things in the creek and in the trees and under the ground that are just all living, doing their best. It it's so funny. Like, people are so stressed out and so messed up because of all of the different stuff that we've inflicted upon ourselves, honestly. And it's awful. We should be making life better for everyone, not making it hard for the people who are doing the worst, and easy for the people doing the best. That's just poor design. We could do that better, for sure. And we've done it better in the past. We've had high taxes on the rich. We've had better Social Security program, or not Social Security, but like welfare plans and programs in place to help people. Because sometimes people just need help. And it's awful when things are going so poorly and the system just decides to take everything away. And beyond that, uh, insurances change all the time, like medical need changes all the time. So, too often we're in this hellscape because the system is not as flexible as our lives are. Because our lives will change in an instant. We'll, like, turn on that dime and be in a completely different world than we were last week. Like, it's part of this whole video process is kind of showing just how much can change in a week. Hopefully for the better. There's always some things that seem to be a little worse or changed in a way I didn't expect. But that's anytime you're working with nature. So it's whatever. I just have to flow and continue doing what I can. And if I don't know what I'll do if I don't find income. I can't get a job. I can't find a car worth buying. If it doesn't work out. There's a whole lot of things in place that need to work out for a person to be in a good situation. You need to make more than you spend. Not everyone can do that. You need to have a place that will pay you for things you will do. Or people who will pay you. It'd be nice to be doing videos and making things for a living, but that is very far off for me. And you have to have the transportation to get the things you need, especially when you live out in the boonies like this. I honestly thought about biking to a grocery store and decided against it because of how many miles away they are. So probably not the best space to live in, but all the same, you know, I've got what I've got. This is my lot in life, quite literally. I've heard people talk about selling trees and making money off their land in some different ways, and I'd love to do that. That would be amazing. I have plenty of walnut trees and whatnot that are probably worth buying, but I just need a buyer, and it was so funny. I had a dream last night after my insulin monitor woke me up to tell me I had to change my cartridge, that I had done an acting gig and gotten like $10,000 or something, and I was just like, I'm set. I can just do something else. I can go about my life for a while. And it's so funny, because, like, in theory, that's doable. In theory, that's a concept that could happen. Not that I'm looking for it, but, like, that isn't an unreasonable act. It's so funny. Like, the world we live in is so dramatically different for different people. There is a wide. There's such a wide array of what people get paid. Because a day of working in the office is no harder or no easier than a day of acting or a day of working at a fast food place. There's far too much going on out there, and it's a problem. Like, we don't pay based on our how hard the job is. And I think that'd be an interesting solution, but there's definitely some issues with it. Although it'd be nice, it'd be a more utopian world. Like, a lot of baby boomers try to hold that over people's heads, like being a burger flipper isn't a real job or something somehow. And then they get mad when they're not getting service because uh, they went on strike. Uh, it's it's so funny to see the double standard at play. It's amazing that these jobs were considered uh, what was it? They were mandatory workers or something like that. They were essential. That was it. Fuck that. Like, if your job is essential for the running of our society, you should be paid extremely well. Like, it feels like fair reasoning. Hmm. It, to be fair, I don't think a lot of people still think that the pandemic is going. Yet people die of COVID every day. It's not like that stopped. It's so rough when things are getting only worse, and there's there's nothing happening. There's no pushback. It's it's so hard when you can't see what forward progress looks like. You can't even imagine like how we could completely rebuild the system to be kinder, to be better, to know that you're completely getting screwed over and that it's there's nothing you can do. There is a giant systemic issue that you can't affect change on. So, going with general therapy, the next best thing for you to do is accept that these are things you cannot control and bring your circle inwards. So, I'm trying to focus on the things I can change, which is this backyard. Hopefully, I'm making things better for the animals that live on it, as long as I can. Because it's. I don't know that I have much else going. Like, it doesn't feel like much of a life right now. It's. It's a wonder. Like. I would hope that most people feel fulfilled, or at least a little bit here and there, in their lives and the things they've done and the people they've affected. it's so painful to have such minimal impact, such minimal contact when things are so bad, honestly. Alright, let's do a quick BRB and get to the next video. Okay. So, today, regardless of what the camera says, it's a beautiful day out. It's, let me check temperatures, because that's wild. 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Like, it's warm. And here's hoping seasonal depression goes away, but at the same time, if you have situational depression, where your depression is based around the situation you're in, it's trash here that I end up picking up later, it's a lot harder. There's a lot more that needs to happen to change things, to make your situation better, to truly feel better about what you're doing. So, at the top of the episode, I mentioned that we had a bunch of high winds because of the warm to cold weather. And there is plenty of down limbs. And going back to other aspects just means there's more to clean up, more highlights of places that I'm not sure I've walked through in a minute. I'm not quite sure how to make this space better, but I'm willing to try. I'm willing to create a system in which this water all flows down into the stream. Because hopefully that would make things a little bit better. To be fair, it could also run sideways into the stream. I'll have to look at what established creek beds exist and what we can do to make this a nicer little plot. Little waterfall still exists, still not quite a waterfall anymore. For good mental health, it's super important to have things to look forward to. There's a lot that hope matters for. That's the puddle I was talking about earlier as well. They've got some stone down here that I can take from, so that should be a nice little mini project. Having something to look forward to gives us a hope multiplier, it feels like. It gives us drive. So while we're working in a general 9 to 5, at the start of the day, you're looking forward to lunch. At the end of lunch, you're looking forward to the end of the day. Throughout the week, you're looking forward to the weekend. And that's not exactly, a great way to live, but it's a situation where you have little goals, little check marks to get to. And in a life without those check marks, I mean, you can still look forward to lunch and different meals every day. There's a trash can in there. We'll definitely take care of that in a minute, but we'll get there. So you can still look forward to some of the basic things about life. Having good meals, having little interactions, seeing good content, but sometimes it misses the value. Like, a lot of those are really just they're minuscule milestones that happen every day, hopefully. But they do have value. It's really hard when you're not allowed to eat the things you enjoy. It's really hard when you can't see the people you love. It's really hard when you're separated from your support system. And there aren't a lot of great answers for that. There's not a lot of joy that can be sprung upon oneself. Like, it's one of those things that very often one can wonder what kind of effect they'll have when they're gone. Like, if I were to die suddenly, what impact would that have on the world, you know? Would people even miss me is very much a thought that people wonder about. The answer is yeah, people do. They move on. It's not like it's... You will be missed, regardless of how small a group that it is that will miss you. It's important to understand that you are a person in people's lives. You hold space. There are aspects about you that are irreplaceable. It's a shame people aren't better at expressing that in life, though. Like, too often at funerals, people say things they should have said to the person. Like, they'll go on and on about how awesome they are and what a good person they were, all of these different little aspects of, like, what they enjoyed about them, how they made them feel, but I very often go back to Kafka, who thought he was hated in life, but most people generally enjoyed his presence. Like, he just had this thought in his head that he was a burden or some sort of nuisance to the people around him. And I get that. I mean, I know what that feels like. It's especially hard when you make a mistake, and normally you're just making everything better, and then suddenly, like, you actively put someone in harm's way incidentally. Like, you did grab the wrong thing. Like, just didn't work. It's such a big feeling. It's that thing that you were afraid of. But when it happens, and it will happen, they don't care. It was like, oh shit, oops. I mean, like, that sucked, sure, but it's not the end of the world. If someone doesn't like your presence, they'll generally let you know. There's too much work to fake things for people. There's too much work to be a liar, truly. It's so much easier to tell the truth. So I'm surprised how many liars exist and how bad the world is in that front. It's sad that there isn't more that we can do to make things better. There isn't a way to truly tell if someone's telling the truth or if they're just, or what they think the truth is. Because if you ask me some giant mathematical equation, and like, I might come up with an answer, but who knows if it's right. I'll believe it's right, for the most part. If, I think I can do it right. But information is so odd that way. And depending on the subject, it's easy to skew our opinions one way or another. If it's a person we really like, we might skew to the positive end. Like, we might think their music isn't great, but you're like, yeah, it's okay. Like, you're doing good, you're getting better. Even when they may not be. And it's hard. It's like, you don't want to just be like, oh yeah, you're shit at this. Like, there's too many people who would just give up. Like, they're obviously doing it because they care about it. They're doing it because they want to be good at something or are trying a new skill. So it would be so devastating for certain people to have that. And that's why it's always so interesting to know the person before giving any kind of criticism or what they're going through. It's too often why I wonder about game devs and their decisions when making a game. So I've got this trash can. It's stuck in the water. The big goal here is to get it back and get the water to flow out of it. Because the water is truly what the weight is. Even though this is a fairly heavy trash can, we're just going to deposit this somewhere to be picked up later. Because I'd rather not drag it around for this video. So let's get that just popped over here. Hopefully it doesn't end up back in the creek. So let's do our little bit around the pond. I hope you can hear all the little critters, pollywogs and all that jazz. Should be coming up. Yeah. Coming from over here. Some deer. I love that sound. It's so good. Just doing the little peeps, and that's a defense mechanism. They sing to create cacophony, so that birds can't single them out. The most dangerous time for them is they all stop if they hear a sudden noise. And then that first peeper to chime up and start the song again, they're in the biggest danger. Because then they can be singled out. Then they can be gotten by the bird. But someone needs to be that. Someone needs to step out in line, eat the mushroom, so everyone can find out if it's okay or not. It's... Oh yeah, the pussy willows are in bloom as well. Truly, spring. They're such neat little flowers, like, they're so fuzzy. Trying to think, like... So, pussy willow has these little soft, fuzzy bits. These are the blooms of their flowers. And they're very fuzzy. They're so soft. It's really nice to have around, and it's really big for the Polish community for Dingus Day, I believe, but regardless, it's... It's a shame it's not easier to volunteer to be that person. Instead of suicide, there could be situations where people could risk their lives or test dangerous products for a considerable gain. Like, they could be that person on the edge. It's a shame that very often life can get a lot worse. Like, we can't imagine the depths of hell that this existence can be, because life will find a way to make things harder, for sure. Also, I have to put this railroad tie up on blocks. It is damming currently, and I don't know that I like that. Also, my little bridge is down, but it's great when you can just, like, flop something across. So, this is a thing I need to manage, because that shouldn't be that way. So, yeah. That kind of highlights my plans for the day. Highlights my plans for the week. And hopefully look forward to next week and next time. Here we have our daffodils coming into bloom. And our little waterfall. So thank y'all for watching. This has been another episode of Backyard Progression. Love you all. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope things get better. So, till next time, do something nice for yourself. Do something nice for others. Tell them the positive things that they do for you in your life. Because you never know when their funeral will be. So, thank y'all for watching. And be sure to follow my Twitch if you're watching this on YouTube. Be sure to follow my YouTube if you're watching on Twitch. And we will have more of these until I feel like it's no longer worth it. Alright, till then, bye!